I'm 28, standing on the warped wooden porch of our family cabin in Asheville, North Carolina, the Blue Ridge Mountains looming like silent judges in the October dusk of 2024. The air smells of wet pine and chimney smoke, sharp and bitter, curling into my lungs as I clutch a chipped coffee mug that's gone cold. My breath fogs in front of me, a fleeting ghost against the purple haze of the horizon. The wind rattles the tin roof, a sound I've known since I was a kid. But tonight, it feels like a warning, like the mountains themselves are whispering, "Run, Laurel, run." I don't run. I stand there, barefoot on the splintered boards, my flannel shirt damp from the drizzle, staring at the letter trembling in my other hand. It's Mom's handwriting, loopy and precise, but the words inside don't belong to the woman who raised me. They belong to a stranger, a liar, a thief of everything I thought was mine. My name's Laurel Hensley, and until an hour ago, I thought I knew my family. I thought I knew the creak of this cabin's stairs, the way Dad's laughter used to echo off the oak beams, the way my older sister Ivy would braid my hair on summer nights while we listened to the crickets. I thought I knew Mom Eleanor Hensley, the soft-spoken widow who sold pottery at the River Arts District and prayed every Sunday at St. Lawrence Basilica. But the letter I found tucked inside her old recipe box, hidden beneath a faded card for pecan pie, says otherwise. It's dated 10 years ago, October 2014, addressed to someone named C, and it starts with, "I did it. He's gone, and no one will ever know." The rest is a confession, a jagged, ink-stained dagger, plunged straight into my chest. Mom killed Dad. Not a heart attack, like she told us. Not a quiet death in his sleep at 42, leaving us to grieve a good man taken too soon. No, she poisoned him, deliberately, with something she slipped into his coffee, watching him choke and collapse right here in this cabin, while Ivy and I slept upstairs, oblivious. I drop the mug. It shatters on the porch, brown coffee splattering like blood across the wood. My knees buckle, and I grip the railing, splinters biting into my palms. The mountains blur through tears I didn't know were falling, and all I can hear is my own heartbeat, pounding like a drum in a funeral march. I see Dad's face, those warm brown eyes, the crooked grin he'd flash when he taught me to fish in the French Broad River. Gone, stolen. And Mom, with her gentle hands and her lavender-scented hugs, she's the one who took him. 10 years I've lived in this lie. 10 years I've mourned a fiction, while she played the grieving widow, selling her damn pots and smiling at strangers who called her strong. I stumble inside, the cabin's warmth hitting me like a slap. The living room smells of cedar and dust, the same plaid couch sagging in the corner where Dad used to read me Charlotte's Web. The wood stove crackles, casting shadows that dance across Mom's pottery shelves, vases and bowls glazed in blues and greens, each one a silent witness to her secret. I fling the letter onto the coffee table, next to a half-empty bottle of bourbon I'd been sipping with my girlfriend, Sadie, before she left for her shift at the brewery downtown. Sadie doesn't know yet. She doesn't know that the woman she calls Mama L isn't just a sweet old lady with a knack for clay. She doesn't know I'm about to become someone else, someone who doesn't forgive, doesn't forget. My phone buzzes on the table. It's Ivy, my sister, texting from her apartment in Charlotte. "You okay? Mom said you seemed off when she visited yesterday off." Yeah, I was off. Because yesterday, Mom sat right here, sipping tea, chatting about the fall festival on Biltmore Avenue, while I rummaged through the kitchen for sugar and found that damn recipe box. I didn't read the letter until tonight, after Sadie kissed me goodbye and the cabin grew too quiet. Now Ivy's words glow on the screen, and I want to scream back. Did you know? Were you in on it? But I don't. Ivy's 32, a graphic designer with a perfect life husband, toddler, a sleek condo overlooking the city. She's the golden child who got out of Asheville, while I stayed, running a small bookstore on Haywood Street, clinging to these mountains like they'd save me. Maybe she didn't know. Maybe she's as blind as I was. I grab the bourbon, take a long swig, and let it burn down my throat. The letter stares up at me, Mom's words searing into my brain. I had to protect us. He was going to ruin everything. Protect us? From what? Dad was a carpenter, a quiet man, who built furniture for half the town, rocking chairs and tables that still sit in homes along Walnut Street. He wasn't rich, wasn't powerful. What could he ruin? I pace the room, my boots thudding against the hardwood, and then I see it, the photo on the mantel. Me, Ivy, Mom and Dad, standing by Pack Square Park, the summer before he died. I'm 18, grinning with braces, Dad's arm around me. Mum's smile is tight, her eyes distant. I snatch the frame, hurl it into the stove. Glass shatters, flames lick at the edges of the picture, and I don't care. Let it burn. Let her burn. Outside, the rain picks up, drumming the roof like gunfire. I sink onto the couch, bourbon bottle in hand, and the hurt crashes over me, wave after wave of it. Raw and suffocating. I loved her. I trusted her. And Daddy didn't deserve this. I see his hands, rough from sanding wood, showing me how to bait a hook. I hear his voice, low and steady, saying, "You're my fighter, Laurel." A sob rips out of me, loud and ugly, echoing in the empty cabin. I wipe my face with my sleeve, and something shifts inside me, a spark, small but fierce, igniting in the wreckage of my grief. She doesn't get to walk away from this. She doesn't get to keep her perfect little life, her pottery, her lies. I don't know how yet, but I'm going to make her pay. I'm going to tear it all down, every brick of the world she built on his grave. Revenge. The word tastes like blood in my mouth, bitter and alive, and I know it's the only thing that'll keep me standing. The next morning, October 15, I wake up on the couch with a crick in my neck and the bourbon bottle empty on the floor. Sunlight filters through the lace curtains Mom hung years ago, casting delicate shadows that feel like a mockery of last night's revelation. My head throbs, a dull ache pulsing behind my eyes, but it's nothing compared to the weight in my chest, like someone's piled river rocks over my ribs, pressing down until I can't breathe right. The letter's still on the coffee table, crumpled from where I gripped it too hard. Mom's confession staring up at me like a dare. I don't read it again. I don't need to. Every word's branded into me now, a scar I'll carry forever. I stumble to the kitchen, splash cold water on my face from the sink, and catch my reflection in the little mirror above it. My hazel eyes are bloodshot, my dark hair a tangled mess falling past my shoulders. I look like hell, like someone who's been gutted and left to bleed out. Good. That's how I feel. The cabin's quiet, except for the drip of the faucet, a steady plink-plink that grates on my nerves. Outside, the mountains rise sharp and green against a sky so blue it hurts to look at. Asheville's waking up tourists, probably clogging Lexington Avenue, sipping lattes at Double D's Coffee, while locals set up booths for the fall craft fair. Life goes on, oblivious to the fact that mine's just imploded. Sadie's due back soon. She works nights at Wicked Weed Brewing, pouring IPAs for hipsters and hikers, and she'll stumble in any minute, smelling of hops and exhaustion. I don't know how to tell her. We've been together 2 years, met when she bought a dog-eared copy of The Secret History from my bookstore, flirting over tart's prose, until I asked her out. She's 26, all sharp edges and soft smiles, with a laugh that cuts through my worst days. She loves Mom, calls her Mama L, brings her wildflowers from the trails off the Blue Ridge Parkway. How do I say, "Hey, babe, that sweet lady you adore, she's a murderer"? My stomach twists, and I grip the counter, the chipped formica cool under my palms. The front door creaks open, and there she is, Sadie, in her black brewery hoodie, blonde hair pulled into a messy bun, her freckled cheeks flushed from the chilly morning. "Morning sunshine," she says, kicking off her boots. Her voice is gravelly, warm, and it almost breaks me. She drops her bag by the couch, glances at the shattered mug on the porch through the open door, and frowns. "Rough night?" I nod, throat tight. "You could say that." She steps closer, eyes narrowing as she takes me in my red-rimmed eyes, the tension in my shoulders. Laurel, what's wrong? She reaches for me, her fingers brushing my arm, and I flinch. Her touch is too gentle, too good, and I don't deserve it right now, not with the hate boiling inside me. She pulls back, hurt flickering across her face. Talk to me. I grab the letter, thrust it at her. Read it. My voice cracks, sharp and raw. She takes it, hesitates, then unfolds the paper. I watch her eyes scan the lines, watch her lips part as the colour drains from her face. The cabin's silent, except for the rustle of the page and the distant hum of a car on the winding road outside. When she finishes, she looks up, her blue eyes wide with shock. This can't be real. Eleanor? Your mum? It's real, I snap, pacing to the window. The glass is cold against my forehead as I lean into it, staring at the oak trees swaying in the breeze. She killed him, Sadie, my dad, 10 years ago, and she's been lying to us ever since. Sadie sets the letter down, slow, like it's a bomb that might go off. Jesus, Laurel, I don't even know what to say. She runs a hand through her hair, pacing now too, her boots scuffing the floor. Why would she do that? I don't know, I shout, turning to face her. She says she was protecting us, whatever the hell that means. Protecting us from what? Dad was. He built this cabin. He loved us. My voice breaks, and I hate how weak I sound, how the tears are back, stinging my eyes. Sadie crosses the room, pulls me into her arms. I resist at first, but she holds tight, her chin resting on my head. She smells like yeast and pine, grounding me even as I unravel. We'll figure this out, she whispers. Together, okay? I want to believe her. I want to sink into her warmth and let it fix me. But then I think of Mom, her soft voice, her lies, and the spark from last night flares again, hotter, sharper. No, I say, pulling away. I can't just figure it out. She doesn't get to walk away from this. I'm going to make her pay. Sadie freezes, her arms dropping. What do you mean, pay? I mean revenge, I say, the words solidifying in the air between us. She took him from me, from Ivy, from us. I'm not letting her live her happy little life like nothing happened. Laurel, you're hurt. You're angry. I get it. But revenge? That's not you. Her voice is pleading, but there's an edge to it, fear maybe. You don't know what I'm capable of, I say. And it's true. I don't even know myself anymore. The Laurel, she loves the one who reads poetry and feeds stray cats behind the bookstore she's crumbling. And something darker's taking her place. Sadie steps back, crossing her arms. I'm not losing you to this. Whatever she did, we can go to the police, get justice. Justice. I laugh, bitter and hollow. 10 years, Sadie. No evidence, just a letter. They'll call it hearsay and she'll deny it. No, this is mine to fix. She stares at me, and for the first time, I see a crack in us, a fracture I didn't expect. If you do this, she says quietly, it's going to change you, and I don't know if I can follow you there. The words hang heavy, a warning I can't ignore, but the hurt's too deep, the anger too loud. I turn away, back to the window, and let the mountains swallow my silence. It's October 18, 3 days since Sadie read the letter, and the cabin feels like a cage. The walls creak with every gust of wind, the air thick with unspoken tension. Sadie's still here, sleeping on the couch. Instead of our bed, her brewery shifts a convenient excuse to avoid me. I hear her come in at dawn, her footsteps soft but deliberate, like she's afraid to wake the monster I'm becoming. We barely talk. Yesterday, she tried again, suggested we drive to Mom's house on Montford Avenue, confront her together. I shot it down. Not yet, I said, my voice clipped. I'm not ready to face Mom. Not until I know what I'm going to do. I'm at the bookstore today, Hensley's Pages, a narrow shop squeezed between a vegan cafe and a gallery on Hayward Street. The shelves are crammed with used books, their spines cracked and faded, the air heavy with the musty scent of paper and ink. It's my sanctuary has been since I bought it at 24 with Dad's life insurance money. a bitter irony I never questioned until now. The bell jingles as a customer leaves with a stack of mysteries, and I'm alone, perched on a stool behind the counter, staring at a photo on my phone. It's me and Ivy, last Christmas, outside the Biltmore estate. Snow dusts our coats, our breath puffing in the cold as we laugh at some dumb joke. She's coming tomorrow, said she's worried after my cryptic texts. I haven't told her yet. I don't know how. The door swings open, and Sadie walks in. She's off today, wearing jeans and a flannel shirt I lent her months ago, her hands shoved in her pockets. Hey, she says, voice cautious. Thought I'd find you here. Yeah, well, it's my shop, I mutter, not looking up from my phone. She sighs, steps closer. Can we talk? Like really talk? Hello everyone. Are you all still listening to this story? I'd be thrilled if you'd drop a comment below, letting me know where you're following this story from and how your day has been so far. Thank you very much. I set the phone down, meet her gaze. Her eyes are tired, shadowed, but there's a stubborn spark in them I've always loved. Fine. Talk. She leans against the counter, her fingers tracing the edge. I've been thinking. About your mum. The letter, all of it. I still think we should go to the cops. But if you won't, I get why you're angry. I do. I just don't want you to lose yourself in this. Lose myself? I scoff, standing up. Sadie, I've already lost everything. My dad's dead because of her. My whole life's a lie. What's left to lose? Me, she says, soft but firm. You could lose me. The words hit like a punch, and for a second, I can't breathe. I step around the counter, close the distance between us. You'd leave me over this? I don't want to, she says, her voice breaking. But I can't watch you destroy yourself or her. I love you, Laurel, but this, it's tearing us apart already. I reach for her hand, and this time she doesn't pull away. Her skin's warm, familiar, and it steadies me, just for a moment. I love you too, I whisper. But I can't let this go. She doesn't deserve to be happy while Dad's rotting in a grave she put him in. Sadie squeezes my hand, tears brimming in her eyes. Then let me help. If you're set on this, don't shut me out. Please. I hesitate. Part of me wants her with me, her strength, her fire. But another part, the darker part, knows this path might break her too. Before I can answer, the bell jingles again, and Ivy walks in. She's early, her auburn hair's pulled back, her coat dusted with leaves from the drive up from Charlotte. Surprise, she says, smiling, but it fades when she sees us, my clenched jaw, Sadie's wet eyes. What's going on? I let go of Sadie's hand, grab the letter from my bag under the counter. Read this, I say, shoving it at Ivy. She takes it, confusion creasing her brow, and I watch her face change as she reads shock, then disbelief, then something harder, colder. When she's done, she drops the letter on the counter, her hands trembling. Mom, she whispers. She killed Dad? Yeah, I say, my voice flat. And she's been lying to us for 10 years. Ivy's silent, staring at the floor. Then she looks up, her green eyes blazing. What are we going to do about it? The question hangs there, electric, binding us in a way we haven't been since we were kids. Sadie shifts beside me, uneasy, but I feel it, the shift inside me, from hurt to something solid, something shared. We're going to make her regret it, I say, and Ivy nods, slow and sure. Sadie's grip tightens on my arm, a warning or a plea, but I don't pull away. Not yet. It's October 22, and the air in Asheville bites with the crisp edge of fall, the kind that turns your breath to frost and makes the mountains glow red and gold. I'm holed up in the back room of Hensley's Pages, the bookstore's dim light casting long shadows across stacks of unsorted paperbacks. The smell of old books, leather, dust, and faintly sour ink mixes with the coffee I've been nursing for hours, now cold in its chipped mug. Ivy's across from me, her laptop open, fingers tapping furiously as she digs into Mom's life. We've been at this for days, piecing together a plan to dismantle everything Laurel Hensley holds dear, her reputation, her pottery business, her peace. It's not enough to confront her. I want her to feel what I felt when I read that letter. Stripped bare, hollowed out, betrayed. Ivy leans back, rubbing her eyes. Okay, here's what I've got. Mum's got a big exhibition next week at the Folk Art Centre on the Blue Ridge Parkway. It's her annual showcase, hundreds of buyers, local press, the whole artsy crowd. She's been hyping it on her website. Her voice is steady, but there's a tremor beneath it, a crack she's trying to hide. She's still processing Dad's death, the real story, not the lie we grew up with. Good, I say, scribbling notes on a legal pad. My handwriting's a mess, jagged lines mirroring the chaos in my head. That's our stage. We ruin her there. Ivy nods, her green eyes narrowing. She's got a reputation as this wholesome widow, right? Laurel Hensley, the potter who turned grief into art. If we expose her publicly, with proof it'll shatter that. No one will buy her stuff after they know she's a killer. Proof's the problem, I mutter, tapping my pen against the pad. The letter's damning, but it's just words. No body, no forensics. She could deny it, spin some sob story. Then we make her confess, Ivy says, leaning forward. On camera. In front of everyone. We confront her at the exhibition, push her until she cracks. I picture it, Mom in her flowy scarf, smiling for the crowd, her hands stained with clay. Me and Ivy stepping up, the letter in hand, voices loud enough to echo off the gallery walls. The gasps, the whispers, the cameras flashing as her face crumples. It's brutal, it's perfect. We'll need more, I say. Something to back it up, make it undeniable. Ivy pulls up another tab. I've been digging into her finances. 10 years ago, right after Dad died, she got a $50,000 deposit. No explanation, just miscellaneous income on her tax return. She used it to start the pottery studio. My stomach lurches. You think it's connected? Maybe, Ivy says. Dad's insurance only paid out $20,000. I checked the old records. Where'd the rest come from? If we can trace it, it might tie her to something, a payoff, a cover-up. I nod, the spark of revenge flaring brighter. Keep digging. I'll work the local angle, see if anyone in Asheville remembers anything weird from back then. The door creaks, and Sadie steps in, her brewery apron slung over her shoulder. She's been distant since Ivy arrived, hovering on the edges of this storm I've dragged us into. You two still at it? She asks, her tone clipped. Yeah, I say, not looking up. We're getting somewhere. She crosses her arms, leaning against the doorframe. You're really doing this, huh? Turning into vigilantes? Ivy glances at her, then back at me, sensing the tension. It's not vigilante, I say, my voice sharp. It's justice. She doesn't get to live like nothing happened. Sadie's jaw tightens. And what about you? You think this'll bring your dad back? Or just break what's left of your family? Sadie, stop, I snap, standing up. The chair scrapes the floor, loud in the small room. You don't get it. You didn't lose him. Her eyes flash, hurt and angry. No, but I'm losing you, and I'm not sure you even see it. She turns and walks out, the front bell jingling as she leaves the shop. Ivy watches her go, then looks at me. She's not wrong, you know. This could cost you everything. I don't care, I lie, sitting back down. My hands shake as I pick up the pen, but I force them steady. Let's keep going. The plan takes shape over hours, steps, tools, allies. Step 1, gather dirt. Ivy's on finances. I'll hit the streets, talk to old-timers at Malaprop's bookstore or the dive bars off Patton Avenue. Step 2, amplify. We'll leak hints, online anonymous posts on X, stirring rumors about a local artist with a dark secret. Step 3, the exhibition. We'll confront Mom, record it, let the world see her fall. Obstacles, plenty. Mum's cunning, she's kept this buried a decade. And Sadie, she's a wild card now, teetering between love and leaving. Outside, dusk settles over Asheville, streetlights flickering on along Biltmore Avenue. The mountains loom silent witnesses to my unraveling. I'm not the Laurel who opened this shop, who laughed with Sadie over cheap wine. I'm something else now, something sharp and unyielding, forged in the fire of Mom's betrayal. October 25, and Asheville's alive, with the hum of fall tourists snapping photos of the Grove Arcade. Locals hauling pumpkins to the farmers' market on College Street. I'm on a mission, threading through the crowds, my boots crunching leaves scattered across the sidewalks. The air smells of cider and wood smoke, a deceptive sweetness that clashes with the bitterness gnawing at me. I've got a name scribbled on a napkin: Ronnie Tate, a retired cop who worked the precinct when Dad died. Ivy found him through an old newspaper clipping, a passing mention of Officer Tate responding to a call at our cabin the night Dad passed. If anyone saw something, it's him. I find him at Pritchard Park, hunched on a bench with a thermos of coffee, his grey hair thinning under a faded ball cap. He's 60s maybe, his face weathered like the oak trees lining the river. "Ronnie Tate?" I ask, stopping in front of him. He squints up at me, eyes sharp despite the years. "Who's asking?" "Laurel Hensley, Tom Hensley's daughter." His expression shifts recognition, then something guarded. "Tom's girl. Been a while." "What's this about?" I sit, keeping my voice low. "I need to know what happened the night he died. October 2014. You were there." Ronnie takes a slow sip from his thermos, the steam curling between us. "Official report said heart attack. That's what I wrote up." "Why dig it up now?" "Because it wasn't a heart attack," I say, leaning in. "My mum did it. Poisoned him. I've got a letter she wrote admitting it." He freezes, coffee halfway to his mouth, then sets it down. "That's a hell of an accusation, kid." "It's not an accusation. It's the truth. Did you see anything that night? Anything off?" He's quiet, staring at the fountain where kids splash despite the chill. Finally, he speaks. "Your mum called it in. Hysterical, crying. Said she found him collapsed in the kitchen. I got there, he was already gone. No pulse, looked natural pale, clammy, no marks. Coroner ruled it cardiac arrest, no autopsy needed. Small town, tight budget." He pauses, rubs his jaw. "But yeah, something felt off." She wouldn't look at him, kept wringing her hands, pacing. I chalked it up to shock. My heart pounds, loud in my ears. "Anything else?" "There was a cup," he says, almost reluctant. Coffee mug on the counter, half full. Smelled funny bitter, not like coffee. I asked her about it. She said it was his. He'd been drinking before he fell. I didn't push. Should have bagged it, maybe. But no signs of foul play, so I let it go. Poison, it fits. My hands clench into fists, nails digging into my palms. "Why didn't you dig deeper?" Ronnie shrugs, a flicker of regret in his eyes. "No evidence. No reason to suspect. Your mum was a mess, everyone felt sorry for her. And Tom. He was a good guy. Didn't seem like a target." "She played you," I say, standing. "Thanks, Ronnie. That's all I need." He calls after me as I walk away. "Be careful, Laurel. Digging up graves don't always end clean." I don't answer. The park fades behind me as I head to the cabin, Ronnie's words looping in my head. A mug. A bitter smell. It's not proof, not yet, but it's a thread, something to pull until Mom's lies unravel. Back home, I find Ivy on the porch, her phone pressed to her ear. She hangs up as I approach, her face pale. "What's wrong?" I ask. "I traced the $50,000, she says, voice tight. "It came from a shell company, Carolina Crest Holdings. Guess who's listed as a co-owner?" I stare at her, dread pooling in my gut. "Who?" "Mom." "And someone named Charles Vinton." The name hits like a brick. "Charles, see from the letter?" "Who is he?" "I don't know yet," Ivy says. "But this isn't just about Dad anymore. There's something bigger here. A twist I didn't see coming." Mom didn't act alone. The plan shifts in my mind wider, messier. I need to find Charles Vinton. And I need Sadie, whether she likes it or not. October 28 and the cabin's a war room. Papers litter the coffee table, bank records, Ivy printed, a map of Asheville with pins marking Mom's studio, the Folk Art Center, and a shady address tied to Carolina Crest Holdings, on the edge of town. The wood stove crackles. filling the room with heat and the faint scent of burning pine. I'm pacing, my boots thudding against the hardwood, while Ivy scribbles notes and Sadie sits on the couch, arms crossed, her silence louder than any argument we've had. We hit the exhibition in 3 days, I say, stopping by the window. Rain streaks the glass, blurring the mountains into a grey smear. We've got the letter, Ronnie's story, the money trail. It's enough to corner her. Ivy looks up, her pen pausing. If we can link Charles Vinton to it, it's airtight. I'm meeting a pie in Charlotte tomorrow. He'll dig into Vinton's past. Could be a lover, a partner in crime, who knows? Good, I say. I'll scout the centre tomorrow, figure out the layout where we'll stand, how to get the crowd's attention. Sadie shifts, her voice cutting through. And what's my role in this? Or am I just here to watch you two play Avengers? I turn to her, frustration simmering. You said you'd help. I need you to record it, phone, whatever. Get her confession on video. She stands, her blue eyes stormy, 64. I said I'd help because I love you, Laurel. Not because I think this is right. I'm scared for you, for us, but I can't lose you to this, not completely. So yeah, I'll record it. But don't expect me to cheer you on while you destroy yourself. Her words cut deep, and I see it now, her fear, her love, warring in her eyes. Okay, I say, softer. I need you there. That's enough. Her jaw tightens, but she nods, a fragile truce. She grabs her jacket. I'm not your soldier, though. Figure out what you really want from me before this blows up. She storms out, the door slamming behind her. Ivy watches me, quiet. She's not wrong. This is getting messy. I know, I mutter, sinking onto the couch. But we're too deep to stop. The plan's set. Ivy digs on Vinton. I prep the ambush. Sadie captures it. Obstacles pile up, Mom's cunning, Sadie's doubt. This mysterious Charles. The twist about Vinton changes everything. He's a shadow. I didn't expect. A second target if he's complicit. I imagine Mom's face when we confront her, the crowd gasping as her mask slips. It's not just revenge now, it's excavation, peeling back layers of a decade-old lie. Outside, the rain drums harder, a rhythm matching the pulse of my anger. Asheville streets will carry this story soon, whispered in bars and galleries. I'm ready to light the match. It's October 31, Halloween night, and the Folk Art Centre on the Blue Ridge Parkway buzzes with life. Lanterns flicker along the winding road, casting an eerie glow over the parking lot packed with cars. Inside, the gallery hums with chatter, the air thick with the scent of mulled wine and beeswax candles. Mom's exhibition is in full swing, her pottery displayed on sleek tables, vases, bowls, platters, all glazed in her signature blues and greens, catching the light like captured pieces of the mountains. She's in her element, a silk scarf draped over her shoulders, smiling at buyers and reporters from the Asheville Citizen-Times. She doesn't know I'm here yet, lurking in the crowd with Ivy at my side and Sadie trailing behind, her phone clutched tight, like a lifeline she's not sure she wants to use. The centre's a sprawling wooden building, its high ceilings and exposed beams giving it a rustic charm that draws tourists year-round. Tonight, it's packed, maybe 100 people milling between exhibits, their voices a low roar punctuated by laughter. I've scouted it twice this week, memorizing the layout, the main gallery where Mom holds court, the side hall with a projector screen, the back exit leading to a wooded trail. My heart's pounding, a steady thud against my ribs, but my hands are steady as I adjust the mic clip to my jacket. Ivy rigged it to a small recorder in my pocket insurance, if Sadie bails. I catch her eye across the room. She's by the wine table, her face pale, her jaw set. She nods once, sharp, and I know she's in for now. Ivy nudges me, her voice low. Pie called. Charles Vinton's a ghost ex-con, disappeared after 2014. Last known address was a trailer in Hendersonville, but the money trail's solid. He's tied to Mom, partner or pawn, I mutter, scanning the crowd for any face that doesn't fit. Doesn't matter, Ivy says. We've got enough. Let's do this. I take a breath, the air sharp with cinnamon and anticipation, and step forward. The plan's simple. Interrupt her speech. Read the letter. Demand answers. Ivy's got the financial docs ready to flash on the projector if Mom denies it. Sadie's filming, or she'd better be. I weave through the crowd, my boots silent on the polished floor, until I'm 10 feet from Mom. She's mid-sentence, charming a grey-haired couple about her inspiration from loss, when I clear my throat loud enough to turn heads. Laurel Hensley, I say, my voice cutting through the noise like a blade. The room quiets, eyes swiveling to me. Mum freezes, her smile faltering as she registers my face. We need to talk. Laurel? She says, confusion lacing her tone, but there's a flicker in her eyes, fear maybe. This isn't the time. It's exactly the time, I snap, pulling the letter from my pocket. I hold it up, the crumpled paper trembling slightly in my grip. 10 years ago you wrote this. Want to tell everyone what it says? The crowd murmurs, phones lifting to record. Mom's face pales, her hands clasping together. Sweetheart. What are you doing? Sweetheart. I laugh, bitter and loud. Don't play the doting Mom. Read it, or I will. She steps back, glancing at the crowd, then at me. This is a private matter, Private. Ivy cuts in, stepping beside me. She's got the projector remote in hand, and with a click, the screen behind Mom lights up bank records. The $50,000 deposit, Carolina Crest Holdings. Gasps ripple through the room. You killed our dad, Ivy says, her voice shaking but firm. Poisoned him, and you've been living off it ever since. The gallery erupts, whispers turning to shouts, cameras flashing. Mum's eyes dart to the screen, then back to us, her composure cracking. That's nonsense, she says, but her voice wavers. Tom died of a heart attack. You're grieving, confused. I step closer, reading from the letter. I did it. He's gone, and no one will ever know. You wrote that, Mum, to Charles Vinton. Who was he? Your accomplice. Her mouth opens, then closes, her hands trembling. The crowd's a wall of faces now, pressing in, hungry for the collapse. I don't know what you're talking about, she stammers. Liar, I hiss, shoving the letter at her. She takes it, her fingers brushing mine, and I feel a jolt anger, yes, but something else. A pang of the love I used to have for her. It's gone in a flash, drowned by the roar of my pulse. Confess. Now. She stares at the letter, then at me, tears welling in her eyes. I didn't mean to, she starts, and the room goes dead silent. Didn't mean to what? Ivy presses, stepping forward. Kill him? Or get caught? Mum's head drops, a sob escaping her. He was going to leave us, she whispers. So quiet I almost miss it. He had another family, another woman. I found out and I couldn't lose everything. The admission hangs there, a bomb detonating in the silence. The crowd explodes, shouts, gasps, bones thrust higher. Sadie's still filming, her eyes wide, but she's shaking. I should feel triumph, but all I feel is ice cold, spreading through me. She killed him. For pride. For money. For a lie bigger than I imagined. The folk art centre is chaos, people shoving. Voices overlapping. The air thick with shock and sweat. Mum's confession echoes in my head. A jagged truth I wasn't ready for. Another family? Another woman? My dad, the man who taught me to skip stones on the French Broad. Who carved my name into a cedar chest, had secrets too. I'm frozen, the letter still in my hand. As Mum collapses into a chair, sobbing, her scarf slipping to the floor like a shed skin. Ivy's beside me, her face a mask of fury and disbelief, while Sadie lowers her phone, her breaths shallow, like she's about to bolt. Then the back door bangs open, and a man strides in, tall, wiry, with a weathered face and a grey ponytail. He's in a flannel shirt and jeans, eyes locked on Mom, and the crowd parts like water around a stone. Eleanor, he barks, voice rough as gravel. Enough. Mum's head snaps up, her sobs cutting off. Charles, she gasps, and my blood runs cold. Charles Vinton. The C from the letter. The ghost Ivy couldn't find. He's here, and the room tilts under me. Ivy had posted hints online anonymously, on X about a local artist with a dark secret, hoping to stir the pot. It must have reached him, drawn him out of hiding. Who the hell are you? I demand, stepping forward. My voice shakes, but I don't care. He stops, eyes flicking to me, then Ivy, then back to Mom. I'm the one she called that night, he says, low and steady. The one who cleaned it up. Saw your little rumors online, figured it was time to settle this. The crowd hushes, every eye on him. Ivy grabs my arm, her nails digging in. You helped her kill him? She asks, her voice a blade. Charles shakes his head, slow. Didn't kill him. Just disposed of the mess. She panicked after the poison hit. Called me to get rid of the body. Buried him out past Black Mountain. No one looked twice. My stomach lurches, bile rising. Dad's not in the cemetery on Merriman Avenue. He's in some unmarked hole, alone. You bastard, I spit, lunging at him, but Ivy hauls me back. Laurel, stop, she hisses. We need him alive. Mom's crying again, louder now, a keening wail that grates on my nerves. I didn't mean for it to go that far, she says, rocking in the chair. Charles said we could make it look natural. I just wanted him gone, not dead. Just gone. Liar, Charles snaps, turning on her. You begged me to finish it. Said he'd ruin you, take the girls. I didn't sign up for murder, Eleanor, but you made damn sure I had no choice. The room's a pressure cooker, ready to blow. A woman in the crowd yells, call the cops, and phones light up, 911 calls overlapping. Sadie's beside me now, her hand on my shoulder, trembling. Laurel, this is insane, she whispers. We've got to get out of here. No, I say, shaking her off. Not until they pay. Charles steps closer, his eyes narrowing. You think you've won, kid. You don't know half of it. Your dad wasn't some saint. That other woman? She had a kid, your half-brother. Tom was gonna ditch you all for them. Eleanor snapped. Sure, but he's the one who lit the fuse. The words hit like a freight train. A half-brother? My knees buckle, but I lock them, refusing to fall. You're lying, I say. But it's weak. A plea more than a denial. Am I? Charles pulls a photo from his pocket, creased, faded. A boy, maybe 10, with Dad's brown eyes, standing next to a woman. I don't know. He tosses it at my feet. Found it in his truck after. Kept it. Figured it'd come in handy. Ivy picks it up, her hands shaking. Jesus, she breathes. Laurel, look. I don't want to. But I do. The boy's face, it's Dad's, younger, softer. My chest caves in, rage and grief tangling into something I can't name. Why didn't you tell us? I yell at Mom, my voice raw. She flinches, mascara streaking her face. I couldn't. You'd hate me. And then, it was too late. Charles snorts. Too late when you poured the antifreeze in his coffee, you mean? The crowd gasps again, and I see red. Antifreeze sweet, deadly, untraceable after a day. Ronnie's bitter smell clicks into place. I lunge again, this time at Mom, but Sadie and Ivy grab me, holding tight. Let me go! I scream, thrashing. Not like this, Sadie says, her voice breaking. You're not her, Laurel. Sirens wail outside, red and blue lights flashing through the windows. The cops are here. Charles bolts for the back door, but 2 officers burst in, tackling him to the floor. Mum doesn't move, just stares at me, her eyes pleading. I'm sorry, she sobs. I'm so sorry. I wrench free, panting, staring at her at them. My family's a lie, shredded in front of strangers. Revenge was supposed to feel good, but all I've got is this hollow, screaming void. The folk art centre empties fast, people spilling into the parking lot, cops barking orders. The night air cold and biting as it hits my face. Mum's in cuffs, her head bowed as an officer leads her to a cruiser. Charles is already in another, his glare cutting through the glass as they pull away. Ivy's beside me, the photo of our half-brother crumpled in her fist. Her breaths sharp and shallow. Sadie's on my other side, silent, her phone still in hand. The video stopped. The crowd lingers, whispering, filming, their faces a blur of shock and greed. My revenge played out, bigger and uglier than I'd dreamed, and I'm not sure what's left of me. The mountains loom dark against the sky, their peaks swallowing the stars. Asheville's alive around us, car horns, distant laughter from downtown bars, but here, it's a graveyard. I can still hear Mom's wail, Charles's snarl, the truth they spilled like blood on the floor. Dad's gone, really gone, not even in the ground I thought he was. And there's a kid out there, a brother I never knew, tied to a father who betrayed us all. My head spins, a sick carousel of rage and loss, and I grip Ivy's arm to stay upright. "Laurel," she says, her voice hoarse. "What now?" I don't answer. I can't. The plan was to ruin Mom, and I did her confession, caught on Sadie's video, will bury her. Charles too. But the victory's ash in my mouth. I wanted her to hurt like I hurt, but all I've done is rip open a wound. I didn't know was there. Dad's not the hero I mourned. Mum's not the victim she played. And me? I'm the fool who thought revenge would fix it. Sadie touches my back, tentative. "You okay?" "No," I say, the word rough. "Honest, are you?" She shakes her head, tears spilling over. "I didn't sign up for this insanity, Laurel. I wanted to help you because I couldn't stand seeing you break. But this, it's more than I can carry alone." "I didn't either," I admit, "and it's the first crack in the wall I've built." She steps closer, and I let her warmth a lifeline I don't deserve. A cop approaches, young, stern, notepad in hand. "Laurel Hensley?" "Yeah," I say, exhausted. "We need your statement. Your mum's talking, says it was an accident, that Vinton escalated it. He's saying the opposite. We'll sort it out, but you and your sister," he nods at Ivy, "need to come down to the station." Ivy nods, weary. "Fine. Let's get it over with." The cop walks off, and I turn to Sadie. "You don't have to come. It's not your fight anymore." Her jaw tightens, but her eyes soften. "It's ours, you idiot. I'm not leaving you now, not after all this." She takes my hand, and it's a tether. Fragile but real. We pile into Ivy's car, the silence heavy as we drive down the parkway. The city lights flicker below Pack Square, the Basilica, the life I used to know. At the station, it's hours of questions, coffee that tastes like tar, and Mom's voice through a speaker, broken and small. She sticks to her story, panic, not murder. Charles paints her as the mastermind. The letter, the video, Ronnie's tip, it's a mess they'll untangle in court. Ivy and I are free to go by 3 a.m. No charges yet, just witnesses to a decade-old crime unburied. Outside, the air's damp, the streets quiet. Ivy hugs me, fierce and quick. "We'll find him," she says, meaning the boy in the photo. "Later, after we breathe." "Yeah," I say, numb. She heads to her car, and I'm left with Sadie, the weight of her gaze pulling me back. "What's next?" she asks, her voice a lifeline in the dark. I look at the mountains, their shadows swallowing the horizon. "I don't know," I say, "but I need you to help me figure it out." She nods, and we walk to my truck, the night closing around us. Revenge won, but at a cost I'm only starting to count. It's November 3 days after the Folk Art Centre imploded under the weight of my revenge, and Asheville feels like a stranger's town. The morning air is crisp, carrying the scent of damp leaves and chimney smoke as I sit on the cabin porch, a blanket draped over my shoulders. The mountains stretch out before me, their peaks dusted with the season's first snow, silent and indifferent to the wreckage I've left behind. My hands tremble around a mug of tea chamomile, not coffee, because coffee reminds me of Dad, of Mom, of antifreeze and lies. The news is everywhere. Local potter confesses to husband's death. Splashed across the Citizen Times. Viral on X. Whispered in the lines at Double D's Coffee. Mom's in jail, awaiting trial. Charles too. And me? I'm free, technically, but I feel like I'm drowning. Sadie's inside, frying eggs in the kitchen. The sizzle and clatter of pans a fragile thread of normalcy. She stayed after the station, sleeping beside me last night for the first time in weeks. Her arm slung over my waist like a lifeline. We haven't talked much, just quiet murmurs about groceries or the weather, avoiding the chasm between us. Ivy's back in Charlotte, chasing leads on the half-brother Charles mentioned, promising to call when she finds him. The photos on the coffee table, that boy's face haunting me, Dad's eyes, my eyes, staring up from a life I never knew existed. I hear the screen door creak, and Sadie steps out, 2 plates in hand. She sets one beside me, eggs, toast, a slice of apple, and sits on the step below, her blonde hair catching the weak sunlight. "You should eat," she says, her voice soft but firm. "Not hungry," I mutter, staring at the steam rising from the tea. "Laurel." She turns, her blue eyes searching mine. "You've barely eaten since." "Everything. You're scaring me." I look at her, really look, and see the strain, the shadows under her eyes, the way her mouth tightens, like she's holding back a flood. I'm scaring myself, I admit, the words slipping out raw and unfiltered. "I got what I wanted, Sadie. She's done. But it doesn't feel like I thought it would." She nods, slow, like she's been waiting for this. "What did you think it'd feel like?" "Peace," I say, my voice cracking. "Justice. Something. Not this." I gesture vaguely at the cabin, the mountains, the hollow pit in my chest. It's like I burned it all down and forgot I was standing in the fire too. Sadie sets her plate down, shifts to sit beside me, her shoulder brushing mine. "You didn't forget," she says. "You just didn't care. And now you do." Her words sting, but they're true. I lean into her, letting her warmth seep through the blanket, and for a moment, I can breathe. "I'm sorry," I whisper, "for dragging you into this, for pushing you away." She takes my hand, her fingers lacing through mine. "I stayed because I love you, you idiot. But you've got to figure out what's next. This," she nods at the mountains, "can't just be where you hide." Before I can answer, my phone buzzes on the railing. "It's Ivy," I answer, my pulse kicking up. "Yeah?" "Found him," she says, her voice tight. "His name's Ethan. Ethan Carver. Lives with his mum, Rachel, in Knoxville. He's 14, Dad. He was with them off and on since Ethan was a baby." The air leaves my lungs, sharp and sudden. Ethan. A name for the face in the photo. "Does he know?" I ask. "About us?" "No. Rachel told him Dad died in a car accident. She didn't want him digging. But Laurel, he's got Dad's laugh. I met them yesterday. It's real." I close my eyes, the porch tilting under me. "What do we do?" "I don't know," Ivy says. "Tell him? Leave him be. It's your call too." "I'll think about it," I say, hanging up. Sadie's watching me, waiting. I tell her Ethan, Knoxville, Dad's double life, and her grip tightens. "You don't have to decide now," she says. "But you can't keep running from it." I nod, staring at the mountains. The cost of revenge is piling up. Mum's life, Ivy's trust, Sadie's faith, and now this boy I might break with the truth. The eggs go cold beside me, and I realize I'm not just grieving Dad anymore, I'm grieving who I was before the letter. November 7, and I'm driving down I-40 toward Knoxville, Sadie in the passenger seat, the hum of the truck's engine filling the silence. The Blue Ridge fades into the Smokies, their peaks shrouded in fog, a grey veil that matches the churn in my gut. Ivy's meeting us there, because Sadie insisted on coming, her hand resting on my knee like an anchor. We're going to see Ethan, to decide if we tell him who we are, who Dad was. It's not revenge anymore, it's something heavier, a reckoning I didn't plan for. The radio crackles, a country song about lost love cutting through the static, and I turn it off. Sadie glances at me, her fingers tapping a nervous rhythm. "You okay?" she asks. "No," I say, gripping the wheel. What if he hates us? What if he blames me for Mom, for all of it? "Then he hates us," she says, simple and steady. "But you're not the one who made those choices. Tom did. Eleanor did. You're just the one picking up the pieces." Her words settle me, a little, and I focus on the road, black asphalt winding through hills, the occasional deer darting into the trees. Knoxville's a sprawl of brick and concrete when we roll in, nothing like Asheville's quirky charm. Ivy's waiting at a diner off Kingston Pike, her car parked beside a sign promising best biscuits in Tennessee. She's outside, pacing, her auburn hair whipping in the wind. "Ready?" she asks as we climb out, her eyes shadowed but determined. "No," I say again, but I follow her inside. Rachel and Ethan are in a booth by the window, her, a tired-looking woman with dark hair, him, a lanky kid with dad's crooked grin, playing with a straw wrapper. My chest tightens, a vise of memory and regret. Rachel stands as we approach, wary. "Ivy said you're Tom's daughters?" "Yeah," I say, my voice rough. "I'm Laurel. This is Sadie." She nods, gestures to the booth. "Sit. Ethan, these are friends of your dad's." He bed. He looks up, curious, and I see it Dad's eyes, warm and brown, peering out of a face too young to carry this weight. "You knew my dad?" he asks. Ivy slides in beside Rachel, leaving me and Sadie across from Ethan. "Yeah," I say, swallowing hard. "He was special to us." "Cool," Ethan says, shrugging. "Mum says he was a carpenter, made stuff. You got any of it?" I think of the cedar chest in the cabin, my name carved in the lid. "Yeah, a chest. It's at home." His face lights up. "Can I see it sometime?" "Maybe," I say, glancing at Rachel. She's tense, her hands clasped tight, but she doesn't stop him. We talk small things, safe things. Ethan's in 8th grade, likes soccer, hates math. Rachel watches, silent mostly, until Ivy nudges me under the table. I take a breath, the words heavy on my tongue. "Ethan," I start, "there's something we need to tell you. About your dad. And us." Rachel's eyes widen. A warning, but I push on. "He was our dad too, me and Ivy. We didn't know about you until recently." Ethan blinks, the straw wrapper falling from his fingers. "What?" "He had 2 families," Ivy says. Gentle but firm. "Us in Asheville, you hear. He didn't tell us. We found out after he died." Rachel cuts in, sharp. "That's enough. He doesn't need." "No," Ethan says, his voice small but steady. "I want to know. How'd he die?" I hesitate, the truth a blade in my throat. "Our mum. She hurt him. A long time ago. She's in jail now. We didn't know the whole story until last month." His face crumples, not tears, just confusion, hurt. "So he lied? To all of us?" "Yeah," I say, and it's a relief to admit it. "He did." Rachel stands, pulling Ethan up. "We're done here," she says, her voice shaking. "You don't get to dump this on him and walk away." "I'm not walking," I say, standing too. I wanted him to know us, if he wants." Ethan looks at me, then Ivy, then back. "I don't get it yet," he says. "But maybe I'll call you later." They leave, Rachel's arm around him, and I sink back into the booth, drained. Sadie's hand finds mine, Ivy's too, a silent circle of what's left. "You did good," Sadie whispers. "Did I?" I ask, staring out the window as they disappear into the parking lot. The cost keeps rising, another piece of me lost, another grudge I didn't know I'd carry. November 10, and I'm back in Asheville, standing in the cabin's living room, the cedar chest open in front of me. The air smells of wood polish and winter, the wood stove crackling as snow falls outside, blanketing the mountains in white. Sadie's at the bookstore, covering my shift, giving me space to think. Ivy's in Charlotte, planning a visit next week. Ethan hasn't called, not yet, but Rachel texted yesterday. A curt he's processing. Give him time. I'm trying to. The chest is full of Dad's things, tools, a flannel shirt, a stack of letters I never opened. I pull one out, dated 2013, his handwriting slanted and familiar. "Laurel, my fighter," it starts. "Don't ever let the world break you," I laugh, a choked sound because it did. He did. Mom did. I did. I set it down, run my fingers over the carving of my name. and feel the weight of every choice that brought me here. Mom's trial's set for January. She'll plead guilty. Her lawyer says manslaughter, not murder, thanks to Charles's testimony pinning the worst on her intent. He's cutting a deal, less time for spilling it all. The video Sadie took is evidence now, locked in some police vault, but it's still online, looping on X, a wound that won't close. The bookstore's quiet locals stare, tourists ask questions. Hensley's pages might not survive this, and I'm not sure I care. Sadie comes home at dusk, snow dusting her coat, her cheeks pink from the cold. "Hey," she says, dropping her bag. "You okay?" "Getting there," I say, closing the chest. She crosses the room, pulls me into a hug, and I melt into her, the first real peace I've felt in weeks. "I'm selling the cabin," I tell her, the decision solidifying as I say it. "Too many ghosts." She pulls back, surprised. "Where to?" "Don't know," I say. "Somewhere new, with you if you'll come." Her smile's small, tentative but real. "Yeah, I'll come." We sit by the stove, her head on my shoulder, and I think about Ethan, his maybe call, his maybe life intersecting mine. I think about Ivy, rebuilding with me, piece by piece. I think about Mom, locked away, her apologies echoing in my head. The grudges are there, Dad's betrayal, Mom's crime, my own rage, but they're quieter now, settling into something I can carry. Outside, the snow falls thicker, burying the past under a clean, cold sheet. I don't know if I'm satisfied, or empty, or just tired, maybe all three. But I've got Sadie's hand in mine, a road ahead, and a choice to move on, not as the girl I was, but as the woman I'm becoming. The mountains watch, silent, as I let the fire warm what's left of me.